On Christmas Eve, 1914, the British High Command faced a nightmare. It wasn't a German breakthrough. It wasn't a gas attack. It was something far more terrifying to a general. It was peace. Along 30 miles of the Western Front, 100,000 soldiers suddenly stopped fighting. They ignored orders. They silenced their guns. And they walked unarmed into the killing zone to shake hands with the men they were supposed to kill. History calls this the Christmas Truce. But to the generals watching from the rear, it wasn't a truce. It was a mutiny. It was high treason, and it had to be stopped before it destroyed the war itself. To understand why these men risked execution to shake hands, you must understand the hell they were living in. By December 1914, the glorious war was a lie. The trenches of Flanders were not military fortifications, they were open sewers. Freezing rain had turned the battlefield into a swamp of rotting corpses and ice. Men stood in freezing sludge up to their knees. Their feet turned black and rotted inside their boots. Rats the size of cats feasted on the unburied dead. In this misery, hate dissolves. When a British soldier looked across no man's land, he didn't see a monster. He saw another freezing man, shivering in the same mud, waiting to die. The generals sensed the danger. General Sir Horace Smith-Dorrien issued a strict order. Friendly intercourse with the enemy is absolutely prohibited. But an order written in a warm castle means nothing to a man freezing to death in a ditch. It started with light, tiny candles flickering along the German parapets. Then a sound drifted across the frozen wire. Not a scream, not a gunshot, a song. Stille Nacht, heilige Nacht. The British soldiers listened in shock. Slowly, defying every military protocol, they began to sing back. Silent night, holy night. Then the moment of truth. A German soldier climbed out of his trench, unarmed, hands raised. This was the moment the war should have restarted. British snipers had clear orders: shoot to kill. A single bullet would have ended it. But no one fired. The trigger fingers froze. One by one, like a dam breaking, thousands of men climbed out of the earth. Officers screamed at them to stop, waving revolvers, but they were ignored. The rebellion had begun. What happened next remains the most surreal moment in military history. In the middle of no man's land, amidst shell craters and barbed wire, the enemies met. They didn't fight. They exchanged gifts: German sausages for British jam, cigars for whiskey. They showed photos of their wives and children. A German soldier who had been a barber in London before the war set up a chair in the mud. British soldiers lined up, laughing, getting their hair cut by the man who had been trying to kill them yesterday. They even buried their dead together. British and German chaplains stood side by side, reading prayers over a mass grave. For a few hours, humanity defeated politics. And yes, they played football. Not a professional match, but a chaotic, joyful game on the frozen ice. For one day, the war machine was broken, not by a treaty, but by the refusal of common men to hate each other. But peace is dangerous to those in power. When news reached headquarters, the reaction was pure rage. This was treason. General Smith-Dorrien was furious. He ordered the artillery to open fire immediately on the fraternizing zones. He wanted to break the peace with high explosives. He threatened officers with court-martial. He replaced the friendly troops with fresh, hardened units who hadn't met the enemy. Snipers were ordered to shoot anyone showing a head. The message was brutal and clear: the holiday is over. Get back to killing. Slowly, reluctantly, the men returned to their trenches. The footballs were hidden. The gifts were put away. A British captain fired 3 shots into the air. A German captain fired 2 back. The spell was broken. The war resumed. The men who shook hands on Christmas Day were forced to kill each other on Boxing Day. The generals made sure it never happened again. In the years that followed, artillery bombardments were scheduled specifically on Christmas Eve to drown out any singing. The Christmas truce was not just a heartwarming story, it was a tragedy. It proved that peace was possible, right there in the mud, but the machine of war was too strong to let it survive. This has been Trench Tales. If this story of defiance moved you, please subscribe. We uncover the gritty reality of the Great War every day.